The federal government may take on the bad mortgage loans at the heart of the current financial turmoil. It is the mother of all bailouts, and it's billions of your tax dollars. So what about all of this? Well, I'm joined now by the former presidential candidate and current Congressman Ron Paul from Texas. He's live in Washington this morning. Congressman, great to see you. What's your take on this whole idea, this potential plan floated by Ben Bernanke, Henry Paulson, and now being discussed with the leaders in Congress?
I think it's grasping at straws. I don't think it's going to solve the problem at all, because they're in the business of price fixing. You know, they're talking about illiquid assets. Well, they're illiquid because they're not worth anything. Mm-hmm. So they're looking around now who's going to get stuck with them. And, you know, it looks like they're getting together and sticking it to the taxpayers who weren't responsible. The people who were responsible should all go bankrupt because they speculated, and it was a process that was an outgrowth of our monetary system and the Federal Reserve. But just for the taxpayers to pick up illiquid assets and not look at the real cause. They're not looking at the cause. Paulson said it's the collapse of the housing prices. Well, that's important, but that's the symptom. And they need a lot more work. And just inflating the currency, printing more money, running up deficits will not hold this together. And the longer they do this, the longer the problems will last. They should allow bad debt to be liquidated, and that's what's really hard to understand or accept politically.
So if you were in charge, what would you do?
Well, I would try to get the government out of the way. If something is not worth anything, the market needs to know this. And the one reason why socialism always fails is that interfere with prices. And this is what we're doing. We're interfering with prices, and we're taking over companies, so we're moving toward a socialist system. But the cause of the whole problem was messing around with prices of money, the messing around and fixing interest rates and central economic planning through the Federal Reserve. That is the problem. So you need to go back to the fundamentals.
So what would you do? Would
you
you
need to get rid of the central bank. You can't do that today or tomorrow, but you need to get the Federal Reserve out of the way, and you need to allow these prices to go down, because if you keep doing this, you just prolong the agony. This is like a fix on a drug addict. Yesterday, people were feeling better because they're getting another fix. But it doesn't help the addict. And we're addicted to easy money and easy credit and excessive spending and deficits. And that cannot solve the problem. We need market economy. We need to allow this correction to occur. It would be painful, but it would be short.
Yeah,
then we go back to...
Would it be painful to the point, though, that if an AIG failed, that it could take a lot of the economy down with it, and not just here in America, but around the world as well? And would that be worse than stepping in to bail it out?
No, I think it would be bad, but not worse, because what is worse is the collapse of the whole dollar system. And that's what we're facing, and that's what the market is saying, that if you keep doing this, the dollar system is going to collapse, and it's worldwide because we have the reserve currency. So you worry about AIG, but I worry about the entire financial system of the world and the destruction of the dollar, because you cannot bail out everybody by just printing more dollars, because the value will go down, prices will go up, interest rates are soaring in some areas already. And so yes, you say it could be worse if we didn't bail out AIG, but who's going to bail out the world markets based on the dollar economy? And that's not quite the picture they're looking at.
You know, we had Jeffrey Sachs, the world-renowned economist, on with us earlier this week, and of course he was famous for going into places like Bolivia, Poland, and Russia, where they were having similar problems and trying to get their economies turned around. He has noticed some similarities with those situations and what's happening here in the United States. Do you have any kind of forecast on how much this bailout is going to cost? I've heard projections anywhere from $500 billion to $2 trillion.
Well, I don't think anybody knows. It's unlimited, because since we own Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac now, that could be $5 trillion if it gets out of control. So it's unlimited. It's into the trillions. Nobody understands it, because we're involved in a market that is based on a pyramiding of derivatives. And when Warren Buffett says he doesn't have any idea how they works, and he stayed away from those, you know that it's very complicated. But I say it's into the trillions, but it's irrelevant, because the market will quit functioning before we're able to handle all that. So the sooner we get back to the basics, look to the Constitution, look to the morality of who gets stuck with the debt, and look to the Federal Reserve System, I'll tell you what, this could get a lot worse. But the answers are there. They're just not that difficult. We just make them so much more difficult for us by compounding our problems and not looking to the basic fundamentals of a free market economy and sound money.
Certainly, this is something that Congress is going to be very focused on over the coming weeks and months. Dr. Paul, it's always great to hear your take on all of this. Appreciate you coming in this morning.